Hollywood Brown this week. You mentioned he had the absolute, monster game target-wise last week with the Worthy injury button hooking us all right off the bat there. Hollywood Brown, 10 out of 16 last week, 99 yards, didn't score, but 10 out of 16. If he's going to continue to see double-digit targets, somebody has to see targets in this offense. Somebody has to. And with Rashee Rice out, Xavier Worthy is not going to go on the IL, it doesn't look like, but he's not going to play this week. And even if he does play, he's not playing anything significant. There's no way that he plays a significant enough role in terms of like what they actually throw to him. He'd be running decoy routes. I like Hollywood Brown in this game a lot. Last week, you talk about what the Eagles did. They allowed CeeDee Lamb to go for 7 catches and 110 yards. CeeDee Lamb actually was having a pretty decent game until that horrific, drop at the end that kind of cost them. But I think Hollywood Brown finds open spots against this against this Eagles defense. I like the idea of this. If this does turn into the shootout that Vegas sees it as, I like Brown and Smith, in a kind of a little guy duel there. And then we're going to round things out for our lineup here with Jahmyr Gibbs of the Detroit Lions. We're going to pay up for him at $7,400. I think he's the 6th most expensive running back on the slate this week. But his last time out against Chicago, he had 23 rushes, 109 yards and a score. He had added 4 more catches for 45 more yards there. I think he has to have a bounce back week. I think if they're going to be successful against the Chiefs, or against the Bears, that Gibbs is going to have a good game. He's going to have that bounce back game. It's not like he didn't get the usage last week. It's not like he saw the same amount of usage he always sees last week. The Packers just shut that entire offense down. Now there's offensive line problems in Detroit, but I think that they're going to have to use Gibbs. I think he has a bounce back game. The Bears allowed the 8th most points to running backs in the league last week. Jones and Mason combined for 18 rushes, 91 yards. They caught all 4 of their targets for 51 yards. And of course, Jones had that big touchdown towards the end of the game there that kind of turned things around for them. So if that's what they're going to do to, no offense, I love Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, but they're not Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a lot that he can do there. So while I mix up this drink that we are going to call the Domination Depth Charge, I'm going to need you guys to look and talk about the idea of going with some of these names here. Hurts, Smith, Brown, Gibbs. Is there anybody else that you guys want to add in there or that you would like more than those guys? Do you disagree with me on any of that? But you go ahead. I'll mix this up and then I'll explain what drink I'm mixing as we after you're done.
Well, Adam, what jumps out to me first is that Jalen Hurts in DFS is not a quarterback you have to stack. And because of the way this Eagles offense functions, where you really never know who it's going to be. It could be Devonta Smith. It could be A.J. Brown. It could be Dallas Goedert. It could be a Saquon Barkley week. But I know Jalen Hurts is going to score points. I don't feel like he's somebody we got to stack. And if you want to stack a runner, well, the guy I feel confident about stacking would be Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson. Fields sitting at 5,700. Garrett Wilson sitting at 6,500. Fields made it clear, look, I'm going to gun it to my number 1 guy. Like he made it clear with DJ Moore. He made it clear last week. So if you're looking for a runner quarterback to stack, I think that's the stack I'm kind of leaning towards. I also want to make sure we add in Ricky Pearsall here to the mix because he might be in the same vein as a Hollywood Brown. He's only $100 more, $5,300 compared to Hollywood Brown's $52. And Juwan Jennings may play in this game, may not. At best, he's going to be banged up. No George Kittle. Mac Jones might be playing in this game. Mac Jones is only going to throw the ball to one guy. He's not going to be mixing around to anybody else. He's not going to mix it to Kendrick Bourne and all whatever nonsense they would have. He's going to be throwing the ball to the one guy, and they're playing against the Saints. So I think Ricky Pearsall is really in line for a big game too, and I like his matchup maybe better than Hollywood Browns. I still think Hollywood Brown probably comes away with more volume because I think the Chiefs will throw the ball more. But he might have Pearsall, who was super efficient last week, might have a really efficient game again this week. So those are some of the things that jumped out to me. What jumped out to you, Adam?
Yeah, you mentioned Garrett Wilson. He was someone who, as I was looking with the money left over from some of your guys, Garrett Wilson was someone that I was like, well, if I go cheap with like a Dylan Sampson, then I can have Garrett Wilson as an extra receiver and feel really, really good about it. So either way, I think Garrett Wilson's a great player like him. Pearsall is a good mention. Yeah, I like it.
No, I like all of those names. I'm not going to argue with anything you said there. The thing that I liked about the core 4 that I just kind of threw out there was that they were affordable and they did allow you to spend up at some of those other positions if you wanted to. So yeah, Smith and Brown. I mean, you're not even spending $1,100 for your wide receiver. You're starting for two of your starting wide receivers. I like that idea. Yeah. So I'm not going to argue with any of your points there. So the domination depth charge, real quick here before we end things. If you guys have had, if any of you have had the old school Jaeger bomb or a lunchbox or depth charge, a real Irish, depth charge, or they used to call it a different name, but we won't mention that on air. It's a little insensitive. It's one of those. This is one of those shots. It's a drink. It's a shot. Actually, it's meant to be taken as a shot, but you're going to fill your glass with a stout. And so for this one, for the domination depth charge, we're going with Dragon's Milk. Some of you guys, if you've seen my stuff, if you watch my baseball show, if you've seen me on other shows, the Dragon's Milk is one of my favorites. It's a bourbon barrel aged stout here. 11% alcohol by volume. It's a heavy, heavy beer. So this is not one that you need to, sip by the pool all day long, but you're going to fill up your glass with that. Then you're going to take just an old school regular shot glass. You're going to fill that most of the way with a bourbon. I told you that the Dragon's Milk is a bourbon barrel aged stout. So I'm going to use a bourbon. I'm using actually Border Bourbon, which is a local bourbon here from Northwest Wisconsin. But you're going to fill up a shot glass most of the way with that. And then on top of that, we're going to drop some Jackson Morgan Southern Cream, brown sugar and cinnamon liqueur. This is kind of like in the same vein as a rum chata, as a Irish cream, but this one is made with Tennessee whiskey and it's brown sugar and cinnamon flavor. So you're going to top the shot glass off with that. Then you're going to take that shot glass off. You're going to drop that into the drink here. You're going to drink that all in one shot here. Here goes the Operation Domination depth charge.
Chug, 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 chug.
Very nice.
Well done, sir.
Don't let that sit in there too long because that cream will curdle on you, but there it is. Domination depth charge.
For those of you listening on the podcast, Chase just chugged an entire whiskey glass full. So that was not a shot. So good job by you, buddy. That's going to wrap up the show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you come back. I'll be with Dr. Brian Scott tomorrow, talk about the injury inquiries heading into week 2. And then I'll be back on Saturday with Chaz Florida Sports Betting Weekly, talk about some of our best bets of the week. Catch my article. We'll be dropping the week 2 player props. I'm going to have one prop per game lock on that article on The Huddle. So go to thehuddle.com and make sure you check that out for me. It should be dropping Saturday morning at some point. Guys, as always, download Operation Domination, your favorite podcast app, and check out the video content here on the YouTube channel, the Fantasy Football Advice Network at FF Advice Net. Good luck, and we'll see you soon.